everybody? Did anybody else drive up and down the other Buzzard Parkway before they got here? Good. Good to know I'm not the only one. As Sam mentioned, my name is Angela Coleman. I am working with all of our educator preparations in the system. Talk to you a little bit about our work as it relates to the work of this task force. First, I'd like to sort of draw the connection between our educator preparation programs and degree programs and Complete College Georgia. So basically, there's a statewide effort to really increase the number of Georgia citizens that have a post-secondary credential. That might be a less than 1 year certificate, it might be an associate's degree, bachelor's degree, that sort of thing. And the University System of Georgia is a key partner in that initiative. Because so much of Complete College Georgia is also about what we think about as sort of the pipeline, right? And so the connection to K-12, career and college readiness, as well as the transformation of remediation, shortening time to degree, the restructuring of delivery in terms of how we deliver academic programs, which may include distance education, online options, and other models, as well as the effective use of analytics, metrics, and data. Educator preparation really connects to all of those, but particularly to the college and career readiness piece, because not only are our students as pre-service teachers trying to obtain a post-secondary credential, but they're also the folks who are going to be in K-12 classrooms working to prepare the next generation of high school and hopefully college graduates. So right now, we have 22 institutions that have educator preparation programs. So they may not all be a college of education. Some of them are departments, some of them are schools, some of them are colleges, but 22 institutions that are approved to offer educator preparation. As far as their pre-service students' entrance and admission to these programs, they do have to pass the GATE Basic Skills Examination, which, as some of you know, is being revised. The GATE exams are being currently revised to be more rigorous. But they also have to have a background check prior to their in-school placement. Some of you also may know of the work going on with PSC to better standardize that process across the state so that they're all getting the same sort of background checks. And they also have to have a minimum, it's not up there, but a minimum 2.5 GPA in order to be admitted into an educator preparation program and in order to be certified as an educator. And then our secondary teacher candidates have to major in their chosen discipline. So while our early childhood educators get a Bachelor's of Science in Education, our high school biology teachers must major in biology, a BS in biology or a BS in mathematics. And then they do their education work that is something akin to a minor in education in order to do their student teaching work and receive some of their other educational courses. We have increased production of highly qualified teachers by 40% since 2005. A lot of that was through the increase in new educator preparation programs around the state, but also some increased efforts on the part of our campuses with respect to recruitment and working with the local schools. Many of you know we also have a partnership with the Department of Education, with the Educator Career Pathway, and some of that increase does include our teachers in STEM disciplines and that sort of thing. There's been probably not as steep an increase in those areas, but it's incremental and it's growing. And again, dedicated partnerships to align our educator preparation with the K-12 curriculum, whether that is the CCGPS standards, whether that is the new assessments that will be developed, but we work very closely with the Department of Ed and the Professional Standards Commission. It's part of our requirements for state approval to stay in step with the needs of Georgia schools. So technology and educator preparation, last year, or really finished this year, the rule was approved this year, but for the last 2 years, the PSC has had a very collaborative task force that revised our educator preparation rule to increase expectations for the use of technology and understanding of technology and application of technology in educator preparation programs. And you can see the language of the rule there. Candidates must demonstrate satisfactory proficiency in computer and other technology applications and skills, and in integrating technology into student learning. So that is a standard that's not only part of our Professional Standards Commission approval, but it's also part of our national accrediting body as well, to make sure that we produce teachers that can use technology in the classroom. In addition, there was a new addition to the rule, and that is that candidates shall be exposed to the specialized knowledge and skills necessary for effective teaching in a distance learning environment. As we were talking about the need to increase the technology expectations for pre-service teachers, one of the discussions that came up in this task force was around what about online teaching? And what we learned through that discussion was that the online teaching endorsement, which I'll talk about in a minute, hadn't been updated in a while and had some issues in terms of it's not able to, for example, be embedded in an undergraduate curriculum, some things like that. So we thought, you know, baby steps. This first revision of the rule, we will make sure that all pre-service teachers get exposed to that. What might that mean? That might mean a lot of different things. But the interpretation that we are expecting at the Board of Regents, and I'm also sure the PSC is expecting when they do reviews of programs, is that it is not sufficient that just because a candidate took an online class, they've met the standard. The expectation is, though, that they could take an online class and then work to produce materials or products or other sorts of, engage in other sorts of learning activities about what that experience means in terms of its translation to their role as a K-12 teacher in a virtual environment. It could mean that they maybe go through some modules that talk about online teaching and comparing and contrasting and looking at the differences and how to move in that direction and what you might need to consider if you were going to be teaching in an online environment. So, but that's the first step that the state took in moving all educator programs in that direction. So, as far as the technology requirements for teacher candidates, we have been slowly working with our colleges of education to incorporate the Department of Ed's student longitudinal data system into our curriculum. So, for example, almost all of our programs offer students some form of education around assessment and the use of data to drive instruction. Well, when the LDS was complete, Bob invited us and had a group of us come and demoed it for us and showed us how to access it and that sort of thing. So we are working to get deeper penetration with our faculty in using that so that when teachers graduate, they know not only what the system is and how to use it and where to get to it, but also what it means in an instructional context to have all access to that information. Virtual instructor endorsement, or the online teaching endorsement. Basically, the standards are designed to prepare teachers to teach in an online environment. Right now, it's a graduate level endorsement program, which means that teachers have to have their initial license before they can go back and be endorsed in online teaching. That's one of the challenges that we talked about as part of the task force, and it is, I can almost guarantee you, in the queue to come up very shortly as the next task force. If some of you are like me, sitting around this table, you've been on task force and working groups, and lots of those over the last few years. We'll be working on that very shortly, as well as updating the standards. As post-secondary students in USG colleges, there are a number of ways in which our students get exposed to virtual learning. One is eCore. So basically they can do their first 2 years, their core curriculum in the University System of Georgia without ever having to set foot on a campus in a classroom if they so choose through eCore. And it's a collaborative, so it's offered, eCore courses are offered by a variety of institutions around the system, and they are just like the regular core curriculum. So they're transferable, portable, and they're articulated. Georgia On My Line. If you've never been to Georgia On My Line, this is when I go oftentimes and speak with folks in schools who say, well, you don't have any online programs. So not true. We have lots of online programs. Georgia On My Line is a place where you can go and see a complete list of all the programs that we offer online. We are working at getting more undergraduate online degrees available online. But you can imagine the special circumstances that make that challenging in teacher prep, right? So, but we're working towards that. But you can see all of the different degrees that are available there, and they are gaining popularity and have grown in enrollment in the last few years. Galileo, students access Galileo for research all the time. It's a huge library of databases and journals and access where students can access materials from across the system and across the globe. And MOOCs, massively open online courses. If you've heard in the news, there's been a lot of discussion about MOOCs. There have been articles in the Chronicle and in Inside Higher Ed and in lots of different places. But we are a national leader. The work, particularly working with Georgia Tech and with other schools who have entered into partnerships with other schools and universities around the country in developing MOOCs. So it's an emerging work that's really, I think, going to be a game changer in terms of how we think about what we can do with online education and use it to increase not only access for a broader population of Georgia citizens, but also increasing affordability. So we've got lots of system-wide efforts, but we also have campus-level efforts. And I'm going to shut up so that you can hear from Kennesaw State University about how a lot of this plays out in reality from faculty members who are working with teachers in the area of ed technology. Some of the things that I know I can relate to what I see around our whole system is that all of our programs require some sort of portfolio work for their candidates. So, and it's an electronic portfolio, no more 5 and 6 binders full of stuff lugged to the professor's office and dropped on the floor. It's all done electronically. More often than not, they are multimedia, and it is a pre-service teacher. The expectation that the pre-service teacher will use their portfolio to justify how they meet the competencies that are required of them to demonstrate that they are ready to teach and ready to go into a classroom. Again, the data analytics and exposure to using the longitudinal data system and driving student instruction with use of data and assessment, as well as lesson planning. All of our institutions and all of our programs require a rigorous component for candidates to demonstrate that they can do lesson planning and unit planning. And in each instance, they are required to think about very thoughtfully how to integrate technology, not only to enhance the instruction overall, but how to use technology in ways that may help to differentiate instruction for candidates that might, or for students, sorry, that may need assistance or may need an alternative way of thinking about the lesson or learning.